Good morning, guys. It is a Thursday morning. It is the 1st of November and I am going to start my day stamping up some images and doing some coloring. I usually try to stamp up all my images before the 30-day coloring challenge, but yeah, I didn't come to that yesterday. Still have a splitting migraine. It's just not going away, but I'm in a pretty good mood. And that was my computer telling me that they had installed the drivers for my Wacom pad. Yay! I actually started the morning with closing down all the application and restarting my Mac. Restarting your computer is a very good thing to do on a regular basis, and depending on you have a Windows or a Mac, you actually have to restart it more often on a Windows machine. Windows is known to have a lot of software that can't really handle the memories as it should, so it kind of take a little bit extra every time you use the software. And Adobe software actually works that way also on a Mac, so I see after a while that my Mac is running much slower, and then I just turn it off completely, not just restart but actually shut it off and then start it again, because that is called a hard reset, and that was actually emptying your memory, and that will help a lot. Also, if you have a problem with your computer not running so good, remember that if you have files on your desktop, the screen you have when you start up your computer, if you have a lot of files there, all those files will always be read into memory when you start your computer. So you do want to keep your file system cleaner. You want to move those things to a place that isn't the desktop folder. So yeah, a couple of computer tips this early morning. It's not that early, it's 8:10. I actually went up at 7:30. It's 8:10, 7:30. I was supposed to go up at 7 because I put my alarm at 7, but I kind of slept in. And then Gizmo started clawing at the door and saying, "Mommy, I want to come in and cuddle with you." So I decided to go up, because sometimes you have to do that too. I have gotten my coffee and I'm getting ready for the day. So I'm gonna take my bigger phone, I'm gonna put on some YouTube, and I'm gonna start coloring. So good morning, guys. I hope you have an awesome day. I've been watching YouTube and been coloring. It's like 11 o'clock, and I decided that I am going to go out, and I'm gonna go out now because then I can get in to lunchtime. I can sit down and have some sushi before I do my shopping, kind of those things. I do want to pick up something for my breakfast tomorrow, but I might actually just do oatmeals because I like oatmeal and it's healthy and good for you to eat. Because I know that me and Christopher will pick up food on Friday evening, because we always pick up our breakfast food on Friday. And also we have to plan for dinners and for both dinner and lunches. This weekend went from not being planned at all to having all of the plans. We have become some kind of social butterflies. We're usually not, but we have so many things to do, so we just have to kind of jump into that and start working on that. My parents are coming over on Saturday and our friends are coming over on Sunday. I just sat down for a second before I'm leaving. I wanted to talk to you about how days can be so different, even though there isn't really a big change in how I feel. So I'm still having my migraines, I'm still being exhausted, I'm still having all of these issues that I've been having, but yesterday I had a cloud in my head. I was extremely tired and I was stupid enough to just keep on pushing. I should not do that, but I did that yesterday, and I think it's because I was extremely restless. I had 2 days where most of the day was taken up to go to the doctors, which means at the evening, afternoon, I had a hard time doing all the things I wanted to do. So when I finally was home on Wednesday, I felt like I wanted to do everything. And then the exhaustion come because of the meetings on Monday and Tuesday. So I kind of pushed through it, which isn't the best idea to do. I did a few things that was a little bit more tiring than I thought, like recording that little video about the 30-day coloring challenge, because I had to re-record it a bunch of times because of this, because it's saying donka 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 outside and I didn't want to have that sound in it. So all of that kind of made me super exhausted yesterday, to the degree that everything was fuzzy and I couldn't see anymore. When I say I can't see, I'm not going blind. It's not like like I'm shutting my eyes. It's that my eyes stop being able to focus properly, and that means that things get this fuzzy edge. I have a very hard time reading because the eyes don't want to focus on the letters. So yeah, I had that yesterday. And this morning I woke up, I had my migraine and I had all the pains, but I felt clearer in my head. I had a better morning. I had my coffee, and instead of sitting down and doing computer work, which I've done a couple of times this week, I just let the computer be and I sat down coloring. And I think that was the best choice I ever done, because I'm so much more energetic. However, I'm in this kind of I want to do everything at one time state, so I'm trying to take myself back to being me, to breathe a little bit and do things more the way I do them, and kind of pace myself. So I'm gonna work on pacing today, because otherwise I will burn out completely. It's one of those days when I know that I have the tendency to push myself too far. So it's just being aware of that and trying to get myself back into me. So I'm gonna do a little bit of multitasking when I'm out. I'm gonna go and get my lunch, because I haven't had sushi in a couple of days. And we are going to have bolognese, because we had bolognese yesterday, and we're gonna have some more bolognese, the leftovers, this evening with some rice. It's gonna be awesome. So then I can have some sushi for dinner or for lunch. So I'm gonna go out and pick that up while I'm out looking for papers. I'm trying not to be out too long, so hopefully it's just gonna be like 2 hours. It takes me 15 minutes to half an hour to get into town. It depends on when all the trains goes and everything. And then I have a few things to do in town, and then I have to go back. So I think it's gonna take me about 2 hours. But yeah, I have to get going now.
I wanna get to your clothes, gotta get it right now.
I'm home. I have a little bit of overheating happening here. I'm super warm and have these really big roses on my cheeks. Hopefully they will kind of tone down in a couple of minutes to a couple of hours. Probably just had a shirt too many on me when I was out, because it was much warmer than I thought it was. It was 8 degrees outside, but I've been spending most of the time kind of walking around indoors. I actually walked around outdoors also, because I decided to walk to the central station after I've been to the Office Depot store, because I wanted some stuffs. So I thought I'd do a mini haul. It's a super mini haul. I didn't buy that much, but I went to 2 different places, so let's go. This is my mini haul. So let's start. I went to a magazine store called Pressbyrån. They sell like everything, like postage, bus tickets, stuff like that. And I saw, when I went in on the outside, I saw this. They have winter polys. This is Polly's is my absolute favorite chocolate, also one of Christopher's favorite chocolates, and they right now have these, which is gingerbread, clementine, and Christmas fudge. So I thought I'd pick one up for Christopher, and maybe I can taste one or two, but it's mainly for Christopher because I shouldn't eat candy, you know. So that's that. I love, we have a lot of Christmas candy in Sweden that works that way. Gingerbread ones mostly. The second thing I picked up was actually the new-ish cross-stitch crazy magazine. I usually, this is not one of the one I have on subscription because I don't buy every one of them, but I do pick them up now and then, and I thought these little Tweety kind of stitched images were so adorable, and they go perfect with one of my stamp sets. So I decided that I wanted to create them for my mini kit that I'm gonna go around and stitching. So yeah, that is the tag thing. So that is the white got. I love Teddy Teddy, but I really don't like these Me to You bears after they gone over to be charted by DMC. When they were charted by Anchor, they used 5 different grays, and that made them so much more alive. Now they have like 2 or 3 different grays. It's not as cute as they were before, so I don't like them anymore. But yeah. And then why I went in and what I got. I went in to get printable cardstock to make my journal bags for, and I was going for white cardstock, and then I saw this grey one and I'm like, yeah, grey cardstock, what a brilliant idea, because it's light enough to actually work for printable things. They have a lot of different colors for this kind of cardstock, and many of them is cardstocks that I'm like, yeah, that does not work for what I'm looking for. But this is what I got. It is expensive, but you have to kind of see it as an investment when you're doing things like this. But I think this was 20 bucks, and I think that this was like 25, and this was something around there, 25, 30 bucks. So they're not super cheap, but I do get 250 pieces of cardstock per, so I think that would be great. This is 120 GSM and this is 160 GSM. I'm gonna do a test print on this to see how the color scheme that I picked work on it, because I didn't realize it until I got out of the store that I actually have a color scheme. Even though I've printed it black and white, I do have a color scheme for what I want. So I'm gonna print, I'm gonna go in Photoshop and just make an example print, print a couple of pieces on one of these. This will also show if my printer will work double-sided with this. I know that it can take the 160 GSM, but I want to make sure that it can take the 120 and do the double-sided thing. But yeah, I also picked up these two. These are my favorite pens to write with. These are the Friction pens. I love using them to write with, but I have a huge disclaimer. I've seen so many stitchers that are using these on fabrics. Do not ever use these on fabric. One of the reasons is because the thing that makes them being able to be erasable contain acids. And because it contains acid, this is not acid free. Therefore, whenever you write on your fabric with these kinds of pen, you start breaking down your fabric. It can take years, but it will break down your fabric, and the project you will be working on will not last. That is the first step. The second one is these go permanent after 2 years. So if you use them on a project that you want to use, you want to stitch on for longer than 2 years, you're screwed because you can't get it off afterwards. They do not recommend using it on fabric at all, just for the reason that it does contain acids, so it will break down your fabric. So do not recommend using Friction on anything that you want to last. I use them for just writing with because I really like the ink, and I really like that I can erase them if I want to, but mostly I just like the stickiness of the ink. I'm that way. I just love sticky ink when I write. By the way, I was a kind of you can touch the screen to get it to focus on you, and I almost touched myself instead. Yeah, I probably need to rest a little while. But it was nice being out. I had some sushi for lunch, and then I broke my new sugar diet already because the Christmas latte had come out, the Starbucks Christmas latte. So I picked up one of those and had it on my way home. But that is the only one I am allowed in November. They do have the toffee nut, so I'm going to be allowing myself one of those later this month, and then it is not more. And I should not have candy either, so I'm waiting to open this Polly until Christopher is home, to give it to him, and then maybe I can taste one of each, and then no more sugar, because sugar isn't good for me, not in a long shot. So yeah, that has been my little adventure. Now I'm gonna put on a cup of tea and I'm gonna sit down and I'm gonna continue to color, because today is coloring day. I think I'm also gonna put together that little example print and see how this cardstock takes my paper, or takes the ink. Finally got those. So yeah, fun things. I don't know if you know this, but when I send out orders, I do that in my own envelopes that I do myself. And the reason for doing them is because I have a very hard time finding non-flimsy envelopes in Sweden, and the ones I find are hilariously expensive. So I do them myself because it's more affordable, and I decided to see if my planner could fit into my envelopes, and I found that just switching up my dimensions teeny tiny, I can still use my A4 papers to create the envelopes, still fit. And this also means that I might be able to kind of play around a little bit with kind of some kind of print on the outside if I want to. So that's kind of fun. So I made two envelopes, one from the grey paper. This is the ordinary size of my envelopes, the ones that I send my needles in. The reason why I make my own is because many of them are so flimsy. They're like 80 GSM papers that are made from, and I don't feel comfortable sending a packet of needles through with those. So instead I picked up some 160 GSM papers, so double the thickness, and I make white envelopes. This is just an ordinary white envelope, but these two have a slight difference. Let's see if I can line them up here with one hand, maybe so. They have a slight, you can see it at the top, they have a slight difference. The grey envelope is a little bit wider and a little bit shorter, and I needed it to be a little bit taller to fit the planner, and these actually fit the planners. So now I can do envelopes for them too. If anyone wants to buy them, I can just put them in a matching envelope. I thought that could be fun. There's a lot of ideas. I have no clue if I ever be finished and be able to launch them in January, because I do have to take all the breaks because of the migraines, and I can't sit in front of the computer that much. So there's a lot of those things, you know. I did do a test print on the 120 GSM paper, and the colors actually popped out pretty nicely. I have a little bit of banding, but I think that is because I printing on kind of a lower end of the, so I'm gonna look and I'm gonna print it out on the best quality and see if it will work better on that. But I'm not gonna sit there and do that right now. I'm going to put some music on, I think some Christmas music maybe even, and do some coloring. So yeah, It's time for a break. I have been sitting coloring for way too long now. I'm starting to get a zombie. No, I really should have a clock, a timer up so that I only color for like 45-minute sections. Even though I take like mini breaks in between, they're not big breaks, and I need to really get more big breaks. So I am gonna go powder my nose and then I'm gonna put on another kettle for my tea, and yeah, so I'm gonna have a little break. Today is really not my day. When putting away all the papers and everything, I discovered that the Office Depot cashier had put in 260 GSM packages instead, 160 and 120, and that is like almost I think it's a fifth of a package the price, and they're not cheap, so that is expensive, and I have to go back tomorrow and get that done to get back those money. And I was sitting here just chatting a little bit with Christopher, and I looked at my MacBook and it's like, it looked warped. Yeah, and my battery seems to have swollen on my MacBook. So that is turned off. I have actually copied over all the files I needed so that I don't have to worry about that, and then I turn it off. I talked to the Apple service people, and I'm going to go into a one of their subsidiaries tomorrow morning and get that fixed. That's a bunch of money that I didn't think I needed to put out right now. Not happy, not a happy camper, not in any way, shape and form. Yeah, I'm kind of annoyed. I'm kind of quite annoyed, so. But hopefully we can fix that anyhow. So yeah. I do have another computer that I can work from, but I need to install everything, and it had no battery. Basically, it ran out. So I have to charge it first. Before I even can start it, because it's that empty, and then I can kind of start installing stuff that can take the rest of the day. Not a happy camper, not at all. I'm hoping to be able to get some photographing done of the coloring, and hopefully be able to fix that, and then I have to kind of look into the vlogs and stuff, but I can't do that until tomorrow, I think, because it's so much to do. This was not what I wanted to do on my Thursday evening. No. Also, I don't want to pay that much money to get a battery fixed on a computer that I am anyhow gonna switch out in a year or two. But I need to do that because I don't have money for a brand new one. So that's just what I'm gonna do. But yeah, I'm not a happy camper. But I put rice on, and I'm gonna have some bolognese and rice for dinner, and maybe I'm a more happy camper by then. Anyhow, it's time to head to bed. I think I was able to salvage every clip and everything that I needed from my own computer, and I got my work computer all set up. It is a better one. Here's the thing. My work computer is actually a little bit better than the one I already have. It's a little bit of a faster processor. I think the RAM is just a little bit faster. I think it has just a little bit better of a graphic card. So it is a better one. But like, my computer has all my fonts that I usually use set up. There's so many things that I don't think about that I set up in my computer for all of my kind of image editing. My everything has so many things already set up in the system, like fonts for example, they just don't come with the computer, and then I have to look for them. Also there is other interfaces, like hardware interfaces for this one. So I use what's it called, lightning cables? No, that's the word. I use, the old Mac had a smaller port for like screens, but also for some of the communication. So I use that for the my hard drives. On my hard drives, well, my big drive is actually going on USB-C now because I only had 2 ports on my old computer, but my other hard drives have Thunderbolt, that's the word. So now I have to look for another cable that is a USB, because I have USB 3 on both USB 3 and Thunderbolt on all my hard drives. I have to find the cable and I don't know where it is. And yeah, there are so many things that need to set up, some that isn't set up. So yeah, I'm giving up for the night. I haven't really sat by the computer at all because my migraine is freaking killing me. I mean, it is killing me. It is so hard to think. It's so tough today. But yeah, I can't do so much about it. I have an early morning start tomorrow. I am going to go in and see how much it will cost me to fix my computer. I might just be going through my hard drive, my computer, the work computer, and try to set that up a little bit more tomorrow. Kind of depends also on if I get it back or how much it costs to fix. There might be a possibility that I won't get it fixed. That would be, might just pick out the battery and go in and put in another battery some other day. Because of how it has swelled, the keyboard is usually when the battery swells, it's pushed downwards so that you get kind of your computer start wobbling a little bit. However, mine has swollen and pushing on the keyboard. So I actually have, I didn't know this. I didn't, because I have a separate keyboard. I don't know how long this has happened, how long it's been swelling. I haven't seen it, but I can't use the command key on my built-in keyboard. I have one of those. This is connected. We're gonna unconnect it for a little while. I have one of these battery-free keyboards that I use because I have my my computers up a little bit so that I can have the screen next to each other. But yeah, I don't know how this is going to be. I think she said just the battery change is just translated. I think it's like $220, $230, and that's just the battery. And then because of the keyboard and the touchpad being all wonky, I might need to switch out the keyboard, switch out the touchpad, maybe even switch out the whole top of the computer, because it's like the aluminum that is made of is bent. So yeah, it might get so expensive that I can't afford it. So that sucks. On another note, I do have my working computer, so I can use that until I get a new one. So that's a good thing. That's a good thing. I can use that until I get a new one or until I get fired. But yeah, not fun at all. I wasn't thinking that this would come up today, so yeah. But I'm gonna head to bed, so good night, sleep tight, don't let the bed bugs bite. Bye!